Welcome to the stream. We are getting things going here at the Octane Outlaws week 4. And right now we are on track with the number 5 machine. And our overlay isn't loading. We're gonna have to get that figured out. But number 5 being Joe Barry. He was a pretty good runner in our season opener at Daytona. We welcome you all to Dover. Present. What's up, V6? How's it going? I'm getting a little bit of refreshing of the cache here. Try and get the overlay going. Not quite sure why it tends to do this every so often. But we are out on track. Corey Buchanan, number 19 right now. In the wrong number. You know that's punishable by death around here, around these parts. What else is punishable? You know, I have this all ready and tested and, you know, set and good to go. And then I push the go button and my overlay disappears, Streamlabs disappears, everything goes away. And we don't have any overlay right now. So we'll get it going, but it might take us just a moment to get up and going. In the meantime, we will get you some sound as well, since our sound is not on our normal setting. There we go. Get our car sounds there. We'll turn them down a smidge. And yeah, we will keep it moving for the most part. Corey Buchanan sitting in 6th right now with his lap that he has set. Right now, our fastest lap is 23.09. Corey Buchanan goes up to 23.40. A couple other cars running out of the pits. Con Campbell here in the number 30 Chevy. We're going to try get going again here with our overlay. At least we're getting something. Showing not found. Refresh the cache. Paste it. That is the weirdest thing. Try a couple more things here to get us going. We're going to be doing 150 laps here around Dover with stages at 50 and 100. Break it up into thirds there. But we are having trouble still with our SDK overlay, so we're going to reboot SDK and see what we got going on here. We'll try again. Ooh, get a new code. There we are. We have our overlay. And just in time, because qualifying, it still has a little bit left. We have Zachary Steele here that we're going to be following around the track. Maybe. Steele is just sitting there. I thought I might have been paused. Steele is just sitting there. Emon going around. Trevor Ben's getting a great run, but he's just sitting there too. Emon. We have some of our qualifiers there. There we go. Daniel Butler, Trevor Benz finally filling in. Zachary Steele sitting there still. Butler going around. And Benz looked like he had a pretty good lap there. Trevor Benz is 4th. overall. Patrick Mitrovic's going around the number 4 machine right now. You have some frozen overlay stuff, so overlay is having a real rough go. Relay is stuck, it would seem. We're gonna try and mess with a couple things here. Not sure what is causing our overlay to do this. But we will hide that, show that, and that's not even updating either. So it's not letting me pull up our timing tower. Looking like everything's refreshing very, very slowly. So not quite sure what the deal is there. Try and update and refresh. There it goes. All right, so there it is. We're back. We're timing down. We're looking okay. Hopefully the computer doesn't catch fire today, folks. So sorry about that. Getting our race underway here. It's looking. We might be okay. Let's get you some race info here. Everybody is done qualifying. We are currently only a minute or so away from racing. Minute 45 seconds to be exact. We'll swap over to our ticker. As we can see our standings right now, Buchanan in 5th, Campbell 6th, Butler in what that would be 7th, Heaney in 8th, Guimont in 9th, Casey Ellis in 10th, Steele in 11th, Kreuzer in 12th, Mitrovic in 13th, Barry in 14th, Pillar in 15th, Rogers in 16th. And you still have yet to see a lap from George Buck, Raymond Mull, or Tommy Thompson, so they might be getting the EOL to start the run. Zachary Steele, number 29. He says that he is not. He says that he is not the right number. I am the wrong number. So 29 is not what we'll see from Zachary Steele. But right now we got Bobby Blowers out in front, Noah Miller in 2nd, Martin Roberg in 3rd. Those are our top 3 to start. 2 Chevys and a Ford. And Trevor Binns we were trying to follow earlier, and it was not really allowing us. We got some pretty good times out there. We're going to be looking at a fairly hot track. Let's pop up our race information for you, and that will pull week 4 here at Dover. As we said before, 69 degrees for the weather, but we're looking at 100 degree track temp, which that's a little hot on the tires. It's not extremely hot, but it will tend to wear down those tires a little quicker than if we had a nice cool track in the low 80s, 70s, or 60s. You get that every so often in iRacing, but nice sunny day here in Dover, and we got that sun shining on a track that heats it up as we come to the end of qualifying. We should see these cars line on up. And look at our grid here. Blowers in front, Noah Miller in 2nd, Martin Roberg in 3rd, Trevor Binns in 4th, Corey Buchanan in 5th, Con Campbell in 6th, Daniel Butler in 7th, Jason Heaney in 8th, David Guimont in 9th, Casey Ellis in 10th, 11th for Zachary Steele, and 12th for Richard Kreuzer.
Good luck, David. Good luck, David. And everybody else.
I do need to change that. And
you're not gonna die.
Pop that voice chat off all.
I'm going to attempt to run. I might just pull out.
All right, not sure why we had our sound in the wrong place, but we're up and going now. Had a busy couple weeks off, so we are ready to go now here at Dover. and show our next 10 drivers. We have Zachary Still 11th, Kreuzer in 12th, Mitrovic in 13th, Barry in 14th, Greg Pillar in 15th, Curtis Rogers in 16th, George Buck in 17th, Tommy Thompson in 18th. And let's go to Flowers, who will lead us out. Get this big old ugly thing off the screen. If we got a better view. EV3 is not too bad. But all these camera angles are from the inside of the infield there, kind of like a spotter camera. But pace car is ready. Most of our cars are ready. We'll be moving around here in just a few seconds. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, hit the button, all the above. As we come out of the pits, we're gonna do our 2 warm-up laps, should be, because we're at a short track here in Dover. Short-ish. Dover's not a very long track. If we take a look, we'll look at our race info again. It's not that big of a track. I want to say it is a half mile. Oh, that's a full mile. So it's a short long, or it's a short mid track. Shorter side of mid. Flowers in that pink Octane, or not Octane Outlaws. That's the Orlando Outlaws. Sorry, I get that confused. Orlando Outlaws will lead us to the beginning of this race. Noah Miller on the outside there. And that Lenovo number 8. He's always rocking a new paint each week. Always excited to see what sponsor he's got. Kind of like these real life drivers. They'll swap sponsors for special occasions. And we are going to be going green. And Blowers has the start. And wow, Noah Miller gets a huge jump on Blowers. He is flying along the outside already. What a start for Miller. Gets the big jump. And right now we are off to the races as Miller is kind of pulling away from Blowers right out of the gates. Got some 3 wide action going along in the back. Take a look. Some of our drivers back here going 2 wide, 3 wide. Casey Ellis in 35 trying to push up alongside Patrick Mitrovic there. Groberg in 3rd, just hanging out of the back of Blowers. These cars are flying around the track. With great speed. We are 2 laps in. And that is what we don't want to see, is what that number 33 car is saying. Caution. We don't want to see that. Hopefully that keeps people away from him, so then we don't see cautions. Side by side here, Con Campbell getting passed there by Zachary Steele, number 29 car. Right now, Noah Miller putting a little bit of a gap. He's got 4/10 of a gap to Bobby Blowers. Miller with a great start, but Blowers is starting to close that gap. Our relay, our overlay is wigging out on us. SDK is having a hard time picking up any cars on track. And I'm not sure why that is going on. It's the first time I've ever had issues with our SDK overlay. At least to this extent. It's just showing our 2, Miller and Blowers, up front. Kreuzer got around, Buck got around. He's in the pits. We have a couple people in the back having a little bit of trouble. It looks like it was just George Buck himself going into the wall. Let's see if we can't find that instance for George. If we can't find that George. Looks like he was doing okay here. He just gets past. It's almost like he's off the gas here. Maybe he goes around now. That's a weird one for sure. He's just off the gas and into the pit lane, so wonder what our strategy is going to be going into this one. So it's looking like we are doing 30 and 80 for our auto cautions. That will be our stage caution, so we'll do stage at 30, the stage at 80. Right now we're on lap 11. Buck back out on the tractor. George Buck just staying out of the way of the leader there, Noah Miller. And right now we're seeing... There we go. Now our information is finally updating. I'm not going to move it off of this screen just to hopefully keep the information flowing the way it's supposed to, but I've never had SDK just stop giving me information like that and freezing. But lap 12 out of 150, we are about 8% of the way in, and we have Zachary Steele getting by George Buck as well. Daniel Butler, he comes in, he is smashed up. What happened to Daniel Butler? See if we can't figure out. Oh, he just gets a little loose. Buchanan gets in the wall behind him, and Butler, yeah, he gets going the right way. He was a single car crash, so no caution. He didn't stop in the middle of the road or anything, so no caution thrown. Good job to keep yourself going. Miller starting to put a real big gap now, 1.5 seconds back from Roberg, Binns, and Blowers has been overtaken by both Roberg and Binns. Right now, a big mover is Zachary Steele. He is setting a monster pace. Zachary Steele right now, his best lap right now is 23.28. The other best laps don't even come close. The leader's running a 23.09, so 0.8 faster. It's Zachary Steele. Sorry, 23.28. So he is a little bit slower than the leaders, but the guys in front of him, he's catching up. That is for sure. Miller just running away with it so far. Buchanan back in 6th. Let's see if we have any close battles on track. There we go. We have Barry in the number 5. Greg Pillar in the number 39 behind him. And then Raymond Mull right there with them. They're trying to keep together and not slip out of their... Not really a huge slipstream that you can keep in, but these few drivers behind Casey Ellis are really trying to just keep within striking distance of each other. That will really keep the points total close together as well. Got Blowers looking like some of these cars are actually touching the wall coming into the turn. Let's see if we can't get it on board here with Blowers. He is one of our fastest cars on track. Let's see. You see that line. Some drivers are keeping to that mid to high line. You can see where that rubber is being put down that darker area of the track, and then everybody comes on up. It's that high. And then just coasting through, maybe a little bit of trail braking, get your car slowed down. And Blowers is looking really smooth and steady, coming up on Binns. Binns right there in the number 3 Quaker State machine, looking good in that Chevy, but he's got Blowers barreling down on him from the back. Steele, Buchanan right on his tail with Con Campbell right behind Buchanan. Now right behind him is Buchanan's teammate, Mitrovic. And on the inside goes Con Campbell. Let's see if he can hold it. He does hold it, but that's going to be burning up his tires. He gets by not only Buchanan, but he also gets by Zachary Steele here in the 29 machine. What a move by Con Campbell. He is eating those tires up. They're going to want those tires to last as long as they possibly can. And I'll tell you what, that is not the way to do it. I mean, maybe he's thinking burn the first two sets and then going ahead and kind of letting the other two sets, or the other set, you have 3 sets of tires here in the race, letting the other set really push him the rest of the way, gain position with the first few, and then letting the other ones just trail it real long as Mitrovic gets down on the inside. What a move there by Mitrovic. There he is, number 4 machine. Beautiful PMP graphics on the side there. That pink and yellow and light powder blue machine. It's almost got that cyberpunk color look to it, but beautiful car nonetheless. Patrick doing a really good job. He is up 8 positions from where he started, so great job to move up from P13 into 5th position. And right now, Noah Miller has dropped down. Roberg is past him and pulling away. What happened to Miller here? Let's see if Miller jump back. Looks like Roberg just, he passes him cleanly. It doesn't look like he really does anything out of the ordinary. Maybe just has better tire life than what Noah Miller had. Noah Miller was starting to pull a gap, but if Noah Miller was really pushing those tires, heating them up, then that's where that heat comes into play, that 100-degree temperature, rather than, you know, a nice cool day. And right now Roberg, it's got a lapped car right behind him there. That's the 90 of Richard Kreuzer. He is our current lucky dog position. Just getting passed by our leader there. And the Sopas Painting Co. number 90. Sopas Painting Co., one of our previous sponsors of the league. If somebody would like to sponsor the league, get in contact with Patrick Mitrovic here in the Discord, or Corey Buchanan. There's sponsorship packages for you guys. If anybody is looking to get their name out there on the league, I put it up on the broadcast. Boom, you see the WA Broadcasting in the top right. That's us here in the booth. But we can put your logo there. We can put it on the timing towers. We can put it a bunch of different places. And then everybody will get the name out for you guys on what products you offer, what services you offer. Like I said, Sopas Painting Co. was one of our previous sponsors there in the number 90. He's having a bad day so far. He's dropped back, but that might be pit strategy. We're going to have our first stage caution here. 29 laps in, all green. I am looking forward to the rest of this race. We're going to bunch them up. Corey's will come around. And yellow flag there. Martin Roberg coming across on the 30th lap. Stage caution number 1. Roberg wins stage number 1 in the number 41 machine. Blowers in 2nd and Trevor Binns in 3rd. Not too far behind them. We'll bunch it back up and get going again here in just a moment. Oh no, and a little bit of bump in there. Binns just touches Flowers, I think, on accident. A safety car surprised a few. As we see everybody coming down into the pits, except for Richard Kreuzer. Kreuzer getting sent around. He will be our lucky dog. Like I said, he will get the chance to go around and get himself unlapped. We're riding on board Trevor Binns right now. Let's see Martin Roberg. He's coming to his pit lane out front. He is at a severe angle there. We have all of our cars in. Guimond is staying out. He is in first right now. That's an odd strategy where you have all 4 tires. Looks like just the 2 right there for Mr. Roberg. That's the entry of the pit. Mitrovic's out. Campbell out. Buchanan out. We have Mull coming out right now. Greg Pillar right behind him. Casey Ellis coming out of the pits there. Joe Barry coming out. Tommy Thompson right behind him. Curtis Rogers in that 32 machine. Looks like we still have Trevor Binns in there. I'm not sure why Binns is still in the pits. Maybe he had a speeding in the pits infraction number 3. And then Jason Heaney is also in the pit lane. There he is in the number 9 machine. Not sure why Heaney is still in the pits, but there he goes. Might have had some damage that needed repaired. Everybody is should be on the main lap. Kreuzer coming into the pits. Guimond into the pits. And they are back in the loop. Guimond in 12th. Kreuzer in 14th. But on the main lap. So that is good for them. We'll get going here in just a few. Looks like we do have a couple. Zachary Steele, don't know why he is out there. Butler we saw hit the wall, so he's going to try and get himself unlapped, at least 1 lap. And then Steele doing the same thing. Steele trying to get himself unlapped, just 1 lap there. So not quite sure what we got going. Coach Dave Delta, the Exalta 29 machine here. And so Zachary Steele says I should be seeing the 13, but I've seen the 29 of Zachary Steele. So not quite sure what is going on there with the paints. And it could have been the most recent iRacing update, because they like to reset all my graphics all the time, so might need to go in and change some graphics to not show the numbers. But you should be running your number, Zachary Steele. That is really honestly grounds for you to be DQ'd out of the race. We'll have to check with others, but you might have been saved by the broadcaster. I have reloaded trading paints about 3 times, good sir. I think it's on my graphics side. I think with the latest iRacing update, it reset my show and hide numbers option. Broberg has us in the 41 machine, Blowers in the 34, Noah Miller in the 8, and Patrick Mitrovic's in the 4 in the 4th. For lap number 33, and there it is. Roberg gets a good jump. Noah Miller right there with them. They're gonna get going. Bobby Blowers, they're taking that low line just to start it. Con Campbell gets a good jump on Patrick Mitrovic, takes that position back. And Raymond Mull Sr., he is in the number 13 machine. That is a Cavaliers, Cleveland Cavaliers number 13 or number 18 there. That is quite a neat car. Cool to show your sports admiration there for the Cavaliers. As we're starting to settle in here. And Mitrovic's looking for that outside on Raymond Mull. And Blowers blinking a bit, but that's okay. Raymond Mull gets way high up on the track. Mitrovic's going to take that position from him unless Mull has... Ooh, Mull did get into Mitrovic's. And that is going to be a big yellow. Wow. That is a big crash. Mitrovic might be able to limp that back to the pits. But Maul has to tow. That was a big wreck. It looked like it might have come back up into traffic. Let's see what happened there. I think Maul was just trying to hold off. I think Maul was just trying to hold off Mitrovic. And they just end up side by side. Maul came down into Mitrovic pretty heavy there. I don't think it was intentional. I think Maul might have just started losing the rear. Let's take a look again. Look for him a different angle. Yeah, Maul just comes off the wall into him. We'll try and look from the gyro. We'll see Maul, he's up high. Mitrovic's down on the inside there. Oh, and yeah, you see it. His car just kind of jerks to the left a bit. It kind of turns without him wanting it to turn, and that is going to that's going to bring you down on the inside there. We'll see it from Mitrovic's point of view here. See Mitrovic's down on the inside, taking that line, and then all of a sudden, yeah, Maul's car just comes right across his nose. Nothing you can do there from Mitrovic. He is, you know, not going to be happy with it. But yeah, that was a big smack. And these cars are going to get going again shortly. The Maul down there getting some damage fixed. Looks like Mitrovic has gotten his damage fixed and is back out on the track. He is still on the main lap. He might be ahead of a couple cars there. Yeah, Butler and Heaney he is ahead of. Looks like Steele as well. We do have a couple drivers coming into the pits. Richard Kreuzer, Raymond Mull, still sitting there stationary in the pits. You might have not had that. I think everybody has 2 fast repairs. You might not have that fast repair clicked on. Having that clicked on would be very beneficial. I know sometimes you forget, but I mean it's automatically on. You have to click it off. So Raymond Mull either has had 2 fast repairs already since the start of this race, or he just clicked it off so then he didn't waste one. But either way, he's sitting there. Mitrovic is back out on track, down a few positions from where he was. Mitrovic is trying to take back his 4th position there from Raymond Mull when all of that happened. Our first true caution of the day. Mitrovic normally is involved in cautions later on. That's like his MO all first season. What happened here? It says Zachary Steele has crashed. Maybe he's just slowing down. And it does this. The software will falsely report a crash when somebody slows down too much. And he's just letting Richard Kreuzer on by. And we are going green here in just a moment. Pace car should be coming in. Coming to the start finish in just a moment. No, Miller has the lead. Got past Roberg on that first little jump there. Miller in the Nova number 8 will have the gas pedal whenever he is ready. Getting into that start zone right now, and there he goes. He gets a good jump. Puts a half a second on Blowers and Roberg right out of the gates, but we know how this goes. You get that half second, you might burn those tires up if you're trying to push too hard. We have a lot of cars. Buchanan side by side with Barry. Barry in that throwback Kellogg's, looking like Terry Labonte out there. In the number 5 and everything. Very cool to see. Terry Labonte was one of my favorites growing up. He is actually the classic blue and orange Kellogg's. The Tony the Tiger on the front of it. That's what got me interested in NASCAR racing, was that car single-handedly. Back in the day, we see a little bit of pushing from Bins on the backside of Greg Pillar in the 39. A lot of shine on that 39, the Moxie car. Very cool looking car there from Greg Pillar. Those wheels too, just shining. That chrome design on the side. A very cool car. We'll say shout out to you, Greg Pillar, to whoever did your paint there. Oh, and we have Buchanan down. He's into the wall. Can he recover? What happened there with Buchanan? Where is he? There he is. Let's see if we can't catch Buchanan. Let's see what happens here. Buchanan was getting passed by Joe Barry, and then Ellis comes up behind him here. And Ellis might have given him a little bit of a bump, or maybe he loses it coming out of one of the turns. But Buchanan looks like he's in the pit, getting his stop done. Let's see, it should be coming up any moment now. I hope I didn't go too far back. I might have. Well, in any case, Corey is out of the pits now. After a stop, Miller getting pushed by Blowers here. Blowers right behind him. Roberg doing the same, right behind him. Our overlay being goofy again. Only load Miller up at top, and then it's having a hard time keeping up for whatever reason. Trying to reload, and once again we have Miller and Blowers, and that's it. Not quite sure what it is doing. That's okay. We'll get it going again here in just a moment. As we are talking, Roberg is getting by Noah Miller here. Bobby Blowers really trying to push along the backside of Roberg and Miller. Blowers just keeping within distance here. All right, we might have resolved what we had going on here. It looked like it was trying to pull class information from the race, even though even though, and we have Roberg in the back here now, dropped down a couple positions, even though we don't have classes in NASCAR in these next gen cars, it was trying to pull class information from each of the drivers, and that might have been slowing things down a bit. But we have Noah Miller side by side with Blowers. Roberg's back, so let's look what happened. Blowers got by Roberg for P2. Let's see. Oh yeah, Roberg did touch Noah Miller. Roberg with a good recovery to make sure he's not out of this race. But yeah, he did have a slight touch with Noah Miller, and Blowers gets by. That is quite crazy. Roberg trying to get by Bins to get back up by Miller and Blowers, but Blowers is by Miller in the number 34 Outlaws machine. Orlando Outlaws, not the Octane Outlaws that we know and love. They are coming up on a lap car. It's looking like that might be Daniel Butler, or it might be Zachary Steele. Ooh, Miller touching the wall, comes out way low. You can see he's riding that middle line, trying to keep those tires underneath of him. He noticed that Roberg really was able to close the gap later on in the stint, so he might be trying to defend that instance again. George Buck is our lapped car here in the 3M number 28. As we do have a lot of traffic catching up. Roberg and Bins catching up to Miller. You can see the tire life of Roberg just hanging in there a lot better than Miller. Miller really trying to push on the backside of Blowers there, but Blowers really hanging in there. Roberg might be able to close that gap once he gets by Miller here. Doing a stupendous job here, Roberg. And he is by Miller fairly easily. Bins is going to be the next one to try and make a move here in the number 3 machine. Miller, not quite sure if he's wearing those tires off or if he's just waiting. We saw a 30 lap stint from the first section before we had our caution. We're going to get a 50 lap stint here as long as we don't have any more cautions. And that will really test these tires and how far these cars can go on a full tank of fuel. And right now, this is the most exciting stuff going on around the track. Is Bins making a move here on Miller. Now we've been staying kind of with these drivers up front, but Bins making a move on Miller. He got that inside. Number 3 machine is side by side as we come across the starting line. Miller's hanging in there for somebody who's taking that high line, conserving those tires. He's really hanging in there. The only problem is now he has to get around Bins, and you can see he's gonna use a little bit of that tire life, try and get that position back. Ooh, and they touch. Miller down, Bins up on the top side there. We are still going. These drivers are still in control of their cars. They're doing an okay job here. Number 3 of Bins, though, he is scraping the wall. He might have to come down into the pits. He might have some mechanical failure there. Let's take a look at his cockpit view. Yeah, he's getting down to slower speeds, getting into the pits, getting his pit stop done. He might have had something break on that car. That's unfortunate. Bins was doing a great job. He's going to have to fight to get back up through the field. Blowers, though, getting run down by Roberg at the moment. And Mitrovic, we have getting by Greg Pillar. Mitrovic holding on to those tires for a lot longer than his competitors. He is back up in the 5th place after his incident there. That it is. It is showing Daytona 200. All sorts of stuff messed up today. Let me get that fixed. There we go. Monster Mile 150 is what we are looking at. That's what we are racing in today. Thank you, Ben Summerford. Yeah, SDK just doesn't like us today. And for whatever reason, it is really... it's picking on Miller and Blowers. Blowers has a black outlined and white number, and Miller has a white outlined and black number. Everybody else has the same number. I'm not sure why it's picking on Miller and Blowers. That is a weird thing for it to do. Miller blinking a bit. A little bit of trouble there. It says Bins went off track. How do you go off track on a track that is, you know, got walls? We got walls on the outside here. Bins working his way back through. That is Tommy Thompson he's trying to get by right now. Pillar gets by Campbell. You see Greg Pillar in the 39 machine getting by Tom Campbell in the number 30 machine. 39, that chrome look. Really making a statement there. But Joe Barry is right behind him as well. Let's see if Barry can get the move done on Campbell. And looking like he is going to. Greg Pillar is up 10 positions. Mitrovic is up 9, and Barry is up 7. Tommy Thompson, he's up 9 positions as well, doing a great job in the number 7 machine. Blowers looking like he might win the second stage unless Roberg has something for him, but Blowers is 1.48 seconds back, or ahead of Roberg. Roberg is quite a few seconds ahead of third, but Miller and Bins have gotten together. And, ooh, somebody's down in the grass. Not quite sure who that was. That is Curtis Rogers. He's going to come into the pits. A lone car track, or a lone car crash here. Let's see what happened. Let's see what happens here, because this is kind of weird. It shows him leaving the pits, but he's leaving the pits at a very, very slow. And then he just... it's almost like his equipment malfunctioned or something. He went into the pits and then tried to get going again, and he's just kind of driving through the grass. That grass has already been mowed. It's ready for the event here. You don't need to mow the grass again, Mr. Rogers. Jump back to live. Blowers is still out front, making that gap a little bit bigger. Roberg 2.2 seconds back now. And yes, I do know Miller does not like to be passed. He's shown that he can really put up a defense if he needs to. And we'll see it here with Mitrovic. Hopefully we don't have another Raymond Mull situation here from Mitrovic. It looks like they're holding steady. Two very good drivers with Miller and Patrick here. And Miller just losing those tires. I think Mitrovic just has much better tire life than Miller right now, because Mitrovic just breezes on by into third place. He's actually closing that gap ever so slightly. And Blowers, oh, Blowers, something happened with Blowers.
Yellow, yellow, yellow.
And Blowers has turned himself around, and that's going to be an early stage caution, it looks like. Yeah, I've had that happen before, Ben. I have had that happen. Let's see what happens here. It shows he's just, he pulls off to the side. Rogers pulls off. He's trying to get things going. It shows that he crashed, so that's him. But then we have George Buck crashing. There's Blowers right alongside him. Ooh, that looks like some big netcode there from George Buck. And Blowers gets taken out by a lapped car. Wow, that is not good. As we have a lot of cars in the pits, like in the pit lane right now. Mitrovic's still out. Pillar's still out. Barry's still out. Tommy Thompson's still out. And Guimont and Butler out. So we will see all them gain quite a few positions here. Binns is our lucky dog, so he's going to get sent around. He had that incident with Noah Miller earlier on, but Blauer's getting tires and fuel. Miller getting tires and fuel. Let's see if we can't see this pit lane. Blauer's out front there in the #1 spot. He was our pole sitter. But yes, I have had that happen before, Ben. I remember it very well. I feel so bad for the guy I wrecked. It was a long race at Monza. It was about an hour and 15-minute race, and we were going down the back straight at Monza, and my VR just cuts out. Freezes up, and I can't tell where I'm going, and my wheel just, it went way to the left. I smacked the wall on the right side of the back straight because it kind of veers a little left, and it just throws me. It just throws me off the wall into the other wall from right to left, and I took out one car and almost another 2 or 3, and it was not a fun time, I will say that. Broberg out front again. Con Campbell right there behind him. Gonna see a mix-up of cars as some of these drivers get back out on track. Mitrovic was having a fantastic run there. We are a little over halfway done. And it's gonna probably throw our stage caution here just to extend out this caution a lap or two, because this will be our stage at lap number 80. Lap 30, lap 80, and then we go from lap 80 all the way to 150. But yeah, just a crazy bit of net code it almost looked like from Blowers. So we see Blowers, ooh, yeah, just you see here's George Buck. Yeah, he just, I don't know what, Buck has nothing to do. He's just, you know, sticking to the outside as far as he can. He's up against the wall practically, so not quite sure what more George Buck can even do there. He's trying to stay out of the way of the leader. I mean, you see he's way up high, and then just whoop, yep, it just pulls him in. You see there's still a gap. Blowers and Buck just not having the greatest connection to each other. Blowers gets going again, but that's a big caution. And we're going to get going again here right away on lap number 80. Not sure if the software is going to throw us a quote-unquote stage caution right when they cross the line, but we will see. It might happen, it might not. Seeing as lap 80 has already started from the leader, it should have already tried to attempt to do it, but we'll see.
Green flag, green flag.
It's looking like we are green side by side. Broberg and Miller go into turn 1. Jason Heaney in the number 9, already a 2.25 seconds back from the leaders. They just got flying. Somebody I'm going to keep an eye on is Mitrovic. He has been doing a fantastic job nursing those tires, and it is really paying dividends. He's moved up quite a few positions, up 8 spots. Same for Greg Pillar. Greg Pillar up 11 spots from where he started. So great job from these guys to get from the back up to the front and have a chance at finishing in the top 3. Miller doing a good job, though, of keeping Broberg at bay, at least for the moment. Miller seems to burn his tires off fairly quickly, and Broberg is just kind of keeping a little bit higher than Miller. Not a whole lot, maybe, you know, a tire width or 2 higher, but you know, every little bit counts. And there is Kreuzer on the inside. like he's coming down into the pit lane. Might be having a little bit of damage or some issues. But Miller, you don't want to burn those tires off because it just doesn't pay off. It's looking like the play is really to just hold that high line, hold the, you know, less tire wear, the better, and then just let that, you know, that tire wear strategy pull you farther and, you know, into the end of the race here. Because unless we have another caution, we are going to be green flag until the end. We did have an incident here with George Buck. It shows that he crashed. Maybe he just stopped. Yeah, he just stops and then hops back off the track. Not sure what was going on there with him. Back to Miller, Roberg, and Heaney. As we have Elizabeth Andrews. Let's go, Noah. That number 8 machine. Noah leading us right now, so Elizabeth must be very happy. Roberg's been a really good opponent to race against here for Miller. Roberg's been keeping him on his toes. Jason Heaney also kind of closing the gap. He's up 5 spots from where he started in 8th place, so Heaney has the speed to keep up. Let's see if he can keep the tires alive. That seems to be the name of the game. Keep those tires alive to the end of the race and you will be in good shape. Mitrovic fighting off Greg Pillar and taking that position. Mitrovic just flying out there. And same can be said for Butler. He has kept his nose out of trouble. He had an incident early on in the beginning of the race, but after that incident, he has stayed fairly clean. As these laps are coming quick. We're already up to lap 89. Mom is always the #1 fan. That is a very true statement. We have Kreuzer showing as crashed. Not sure what happened here to Kreuzer. Ooh, ooh. Richard able to hold his car out of danger, but that's a single car crash. We'll keep on racing. Yeah, that is definitely true though. Mom is always the #1 fan. I remember playing sports growing up, football and basketball and all sorts of stuff, you know, just Mom was always there, always showing up, always cheering. Dad was too, thankfully. I had both of them there, but Mom is always cheering the loudest out of anybody in the crowd. Martin Roberg does get by Noah Miller. Unfortunate there for Noah, but Noah is right on the tail of Roberg. He's gonna just sit in that slipstream, conserve a little bit of fuel, you know, hopefully get those tires cooled down a little bit so he has something to fight with a little later on. Haney sticking in there, but Mitrovic making moves, man. It's making a lot of moves. Butler does get by Pillar as well. We'll look at this pass here. Butler getting by Miller down on the inside. And he gets down and goes way low. And then we'll watch Roberg get by Miller. We were watching Mitrovic when this happened. Roberg does it on the outside line. Miller dipped down to the inside. So Miller looks like he might have had a little bit of a moment where his tires were spinning just a little bit. A little bit of rear grip starting to go for Miller. And that's why he gave up that position. But Miller not going to give up in that Lenovo machine. Miller looking on the outside. Not going to do it. Mitrovic sitting there with Heaney. Mitrovic might be able to make this move happen. He is just cooking today. Mitrovic flying on the outside, gets the outside move done. Heaney cannot make it stick. Mitrovic making it happen. He's into third and fighting for the podium here. Fantastic effort. Mitrovic is only 0.7 back from the leaders here. I would not be surprised if Mitrovic is able to catch up to Miller and Roberg with what he's been doing. Miller going to the outside looking. Ooh, looks like he might have either started to lose it or he just backed off. Whatever he's doing, Mitrovic is able to close that gap each corner. He's going down a couple 100ths of a second. You see he's down now to 0.45. Let's see what he can do. 0.25. He is really closing that gap. Roberg keeping the lap times down. Best lap from Roberg 23.17. Best lap from Miller 23.09. So Miller is the fastest lap right now of anybody. Fastest lap from Patrick Mitrovic 23.37. And he is going to make this pass on Miller if he keeps this going. Ooh, and Miller jumps to the outside. A little bit of smoke there. Not sure. Richard Kreuzer crashed again. But he jumped to the pits, so single car crashes here for Richard Kreuzer. He might be able to jump on up. He might be able to get into the mix. Definitely Mitrovic in the mix. Gonna have to keep that one in the back pocket, but Mitrovic's getting himself back up there. It looked like Kreuzer might have had an incident here. He's just driving around, doing his thing, and yeah, he's just having a hard time keeping that car on track. Ooh, he almost touches Tommy Thompson. This is across the start-finish straight, and he's just going to... Yep, he immediately gets out of there. So he's not taking up track, but Roberg keeping that front in the race ahead of Miller. And Miller not gonna go away so quietly. Mitrovic too, he's really right there. Heaney's only a second back. Butler's a second back from him, so our top five, anything can happen here. As you see Kreuzer down on the inside. And this is going to be a green flag stop for these drivers. We haven't seen one of these yet, but a green flag stop. Do you see Ellis coming in, George Buck coming in, Martin Roberg? Let's see our pit strategy right now for our top drivers. Right now we're 26 laps in, and we have seen it go as far as 47 laps for a stint. So we might see some people come in early and then go to the end. And we might see some people go as far as they can and then come in and get in, you know, just a real quick splash and dash to the end and see what happens. It's all going to depend on how these drivers feel with these tires. Everybody essentially on the same strategy for the top 8. Blauer's getting himself back up to 8th. He should be able to get by some of these cars. Blowers has the second fastest lap. Excuse me, he does have the fastest lap now with a 23.06. Getting by Joe Barry fairly quickly. Our pole sitter, you would think, be able to get by any of these cars really quick. As we jump back up to Roberg. Looks like Buchanan is in the pit lane. He gets his pit done. He's going to have to go 42 laps, which we've seen 47 laps done. He's going to have to go 42 laps on a full tank of fuel and some fresh tires. Mitrovic's keeping up. Get a new angle on life here. As we see Heaney getting a little bit quicker than Mitrovic. And then back from them, David Butler is, you know, quite a ways back. He is 3.7 seconds back from Jason Heaney and Patrick Mitrovic. So Mitrovic and Heaney, they'll fight. Looks like Kreuzer getting in the mix. He's a lap car, so he should just kind of keep himself back from this fight. But right ahead of them, Noah Miller, Roberg, right up front. And it has been quite the race. These drivers can fight all day long. We have Greg Pillar fighting with Butler. We have 3 battles really going on track. Pillar against Butler right here. Jump to a closer. Pillar right here in the 39 trying to get by the number 33 of Butler. The number 3 of that would be Trevor Binns, who is a lapped car. Yep, he is a lapped car by 1 lap. So he's just kind of in the mix, hoping that he gets his lucky dog if he can get up and by Guimond. We should see some of these drivers start coming in. We've seen a couple. Guimond and Binns might have been on that pit strategy list. Roberg sticking to it though. Roberg Designs on the front of that car. He's hoping that he can keep that lead and get the Roberg Designs 41. Nice finish. And you see Noah Miller blinking a little bit. Mitrovic's back here fighting with Heaney. There it goes again. Not found on my source. Give the cache a refresh. Just not found. That is such a weird thing that's going on with SDK right now. And I try and give ourselves a cache refresh. It shows something, but we don't have anything. I do not get why it's doing this. It just happens randomly. I'll try and give SDK a reboot and see what happens. Alright, that seemed to kick us into gear here. SDK finally getting all the information that it needs. I'm not quite sure what SDK is doing. Looking like Mitrovic and Heaney coming down into the pits. Noah Miller also, ooh, big slow. We're gonna pop up. Zachary Steele left the pits. Oh, Mitrovic's got a black flag, it might seem. Meatball for Curtis Rogers. Mitrovic's might have gotten a black flag for speeding. We're going to keep an eye and see what happens. That would be huge for Mitrovic to have. We're gonna keep an eye on him. Mitrovic gets tires, right side. Left side. He should be getting fuel. And he is sitting in the pit lane for an abnormally long time. He definitely got a speeding in the pits. Oh no. Such a great race for Mitrovic, and that's going to hurt. He was in fourth, or he was in third, really running down Noah Miller and the leaders, but now we got Roberg, Pillar still out there, and Blauer still out there. Sorry, just doing a little bit of research here to see what was going on there. And it looks like, yes, we did have Patrick Mitrovic had a black flag. He's now 3 laps down, but some of the leaders still have to pit. Roberg has to pit, Pillar has to pit, Blowers, Barry. I can actually pop up our graphic here to show you who still has to pit. As we see, Miller pit just a few laps ago, but Binns, Guimond, Thompson, Barry, Blowers, Pillar, and Roberg all have to jump into the pits sometime, probably in the next, let's say, handful of laps to 10 laps before they can really give a push to the end here. And they might, like I said, be doing a splash and dash, just keeping themselves out on track. But Roberg has a 7-second gap, the car behind him, but Blowers is pushing right up behind Pillar. It's a huge... Ooh, and Pillar's getting up in the marbles there. You can kind of see him on track. Those marbles can really mess up your grip. It's like, you know, walking around on, quite literally, marbles made of rubber, and it's just a bunch of little rolled up balls of rubber that collect on the top side of the track from the tires. Tires heat up, you get little bits of that rubber piling up, and it really does make a difference. Buchanan looks like he might have touched the wall there. This Buchanan, he's 5 laps down right now. Buchanan, Mitrovic 3. Ooh, Buchanan touching the wall again, just keeping that car pointing in the right direction at least, but he is, I don't want to say struggling to keep that car going, but he is definitely struggling. Cannon just holding on there. We're gonna see Zachary Steele is right behind Jason Heaney. Ooh, somebody was, I'm not sure who was just, maybe it was Curtis Rogers. It looked like he was just going straight up the track. Not quite sure. Robert keeping his lead of 7.7 seconds. When is this final pit stop going to come for these leaders? And can Blowers, who is now by Greg Pillar, can Blowers, you know, get that gap down enough to, you know, make a significant difference? Because right now, Blowers in the 34 machine is really pushing that car. And like I said, if she does a splash and dash, that might be the best way to go here. Or if you can time a full tire run, do a splash and dash at the beginning of this run. You know, splash to 15 laps, 20 laps, whatever. Get off the track, get back on the track, and get your full tire run going. Make the most of those tires and just get back off the track. That might be the way to go, as we're gonna see a couple cars, they have to come in. Roberg has been going since lap 80, I believe. We are once again down on the graphic. SDK is really having a hard go today. This is just so weird, guys. I am so sorry for the lack of knowledge right now. 13 laps to go. There it is. Okay. Come on, SDK. You can make it to the end of this race. I believe in you. Bobby Blowers closing the gap. Actually, that gap has opened up a little bit. 9.3 seconds for Martin Roberg. Out in front. You see Tommy Thompson getting lapped there by Roberg. But once again, Roberg is going to have to come into pit at some point. I think he absolutely has to. There's no way you can make it half the race. I think lap 80 was his last pit stop. We'll look and see a little farther back, but I believe lap 80 was his last pit stop, so that would mean he's gone 60 laps right now. He's got to be pushing the end of his fuel tank. He's gonna have some traffic. 2 cars wide, kind of blocking him. He is passing Barry, who is in 4th place. Everybody except for Roberg, Blowers, and Pillar are lapped currently. With 9 laps to go. I'm not sure if I missed a splash and dash that Roberg and Blowers did and Pillar, or if they're just fuel saving somehow. But Roberg is able to keep his position out in front. 8 laps to go. Is Roberg killing his car? I feel like Roberg is killing his car in the middle of his turns here. Let's listen in. He's legitimately, I'm not sure if he's killing his ignition all the way, but he is at least clutching to try and save gas here. You can hear it right there. His RPMs go down to 2,000. I thought I heard it when we were at the farther camera, but look at his RPMs. Goes up, stays in 5th gear. His RPMs get up to around 8,000. He hits that clutch. goes down to 2,000, and then he goes back up. I'm not sure if this is going to be able to save him enough gas. He's got 6 laps to try and do this. Pillar, let's see if Pillar's doing the same thing. Pillar's keeping his RPMs down, keeping high on that line. Pillar's not hitting the clutch, but he is keeping off the gas quite a bit. He's giving it like half throttle, it seems. Roberg is just killing his throttle completely. And I'm not sure if that's going to do it. And I'm not sure how long he's been doing it. But that's, you know, half the track if he's doing that. He's coasting around half the track, so... that is crazy strategy. If Roberg can literally finish a lap ahead of everybody by doing this. And there's Blowers. Blowers in 6th place right now. Not sure what Blowers has to say about it. Blowers getting up to 9,000 RPMs. You can see that RPM right there at 7,500, which is, I mean, that's still pretty high in these cars. 7,500 RPMs is still pushing a lot, so you can see Roberg, this is going to be a hero or zero moment for Roberg trying to do this. And you just hear his car turn off going into these turns. Yes, I am commentating. Not a fake race. This is it's a league race on iRacing. Very meaningful for anybody who is involved. And this is the final lap. Roberg might be able to finish a lap ahead of the entire field with his crazy strategy. Checkered flag here. And he is able to take the win. Noah Miller looking like he came around in 2nd. Heaney in 3rd. Pillar is in the pit getting a splash and dash. And I'm not sure that he might have crossed the finish line behind. Yeah, Pillar's going to get 4th. Because Blowers passed the finish line. Wow. That made everything crazy on the ending there. Blowers 2 laps down when Roberg crossed the line, so he can't get himself to being 1 lap down. But Pillar in the pit lane getting his fuel could not get back out on track because the race had ended. But he was only 1 lap down to Blowers and Campbell's. That is unbelievable. Roberg gets the win here because he didn't have to go back in and pit. Did not have to go back in and pit. That is astounding effort there by Roberg. Well, let's get you your results here. Let's see. Not sure. Position display. It's trying to show some weird stuff. Let's track map. Oh. Might not be able to get you the positions here. Yeah, that is weird. Well, either way, let us jump on over and see if we have Roberg in the chat here, because that was astounding to see. Let's grab Roberg. So we have in our finishing order here. Let's get our tower back up. We can at least see it there. Roberg finishing first, Miller second, and Heaney third. Let's pull them in. I don't see Miller anywhere. I don't see Heaney anywhere, so we're gonna grab Martin Roberg. Hey Martin, do I have you down there in the number 41 machine? Looks like I am not getting you. Let me try again. All right, try again. Do I got you down there in the number 41 machine?
Yeah, I can hear you. Do you got me?
Yep, now I got you. Awesome race, Martin. We saw what you did there at the end to make that last stint really last. We kept saying in the booth that you were going to have to pit. You're going to have to pit. You're going to have to pit. And it just never came. So tell us, what made you try that strategy and how did you know it was going to pay off?
I didn't really know it was going to pay off, honestly. I lost a race here in a different league last season because I didn't try that strategy, so I felt like I could have pit and still won because I was saving my tires anyway, which is because I felt like I had the better long run car on the 8, but I figured I'd try it. If it didn't work out, it didn't work out, but like always good to try something.
Yeah, that was incredible to see that. I kind of heard it on the, you were coming around some of the corners and the camera is close enough. I kind of heard like the car almost shut off and I'm like, wait a second. So we jumped on board and we watched and it was just incredible to see you were just hitting that clutch, coasting through the corners, and like you said, it was just a matter of keeping those tires alive, keeping that fuel. How many laps did you have left to fuel, or was it cutting it really fine there?
When I crossed the line, I had exactly 1 lap left. My goal is to have enough for a burnout, and I barely had enough for that.
Wow, yeah, that is cutting it fine. Less than 1 lap of fuel left, enough for a burnout, and then that's it. That is spectacular stuff. I don't even know. You finished a lap ahead of everybody, at least, and 2 laps ahead of everybody, I think, 5th place and down. So fantastic job there, Martin. Great way to get a win here at Dover. Do you have anybody you want to give a shout out to before I let you go and let you go celebrate with the team?
Yes, I'd like to shout out my team that I've been working with for probably about 2 years now. I have learned so much racing with them, and they are the only reason I won today. Like one of my teammates is the 34, who I thought was going to win the race until that wreck at the end of stage 2. Like, I've learned so much racing with them, and I'm so grateful that they've worked with me and helped me and continue to improve. And also shout out to my brother. It is his birthday today, so pretty cool to win one on his birthday.
Awesome. Well, happy birthday. And we are going to let you go celebrate. Like I said, congrats again on the win here at Dover. You have a good rest of the night and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you very much. You too. Thanks for having me.
Yep. All right. That was Martin Roberg, our winner of the race. Next, we're going to pull in Noah Miller. Noah, do I got you down there in the number 8 machine?
Yeah, you got me.
Awesome. Well, big news right there is that Roberg finished a lap ahead of everybody else. We saw it up here in the booth. He was hitting the clutch for, I think, that whole last stint through the corners, which is crazy to think. At least for half of the stint, we had noticed it and paid attention to it. Would you have ever thought to try and do that kind of strategy? Obviously, finishing second is a huge deal. Up on the podium, but just a lap down from everybody else. So what strategy were you on, and would you ever have thought to be hitting the clutch for half of your stint?
Well, I wouldn't expect to do that at a track like this. I mean, drafting tracks are one thing, but a 1 mile track is completely different. But I was assuming he was gonna pit because that would have I would have been in first after that pit cycle, but he didn't do that. So
Yeah, we were assuming the same thing. We went and we looked because we were starting to hear the sounds of his engine. It seemed when he was coming through the corners would just cut out, and it was, we just noticed he would hit the clutch, his RPMs would drop down to like 2,000, and he would just coast through the corners towards the end of his stint. So he was saving quite a bit of fuel, but I wasn't thinking that you'd be able to extend his stint out as far as we saw him do it. We were definitely expecting him to pit and for you to, overtake him, for Jason to overtake him, and even Pillar and Blowers to overtake him for the end there. But I'm, still blown away by what he was able to do there in the number 41 machine. But you had an amazing race, a couple little bumps there with some of the cars, some good recoveries. What was your strategy coming in to just keep yourself alive?
well, I assumed that, the race was going to go pretty regular, and then until we started racing and the track was super, super loose. I bumped a couple drivers there throughout the course of that race. But stages 1 and 2, I could not save tires at all. I mean, I had good speed for the first 20 laps, and then after that, I was just falling way back. So
Yeah, we saw that with quite a few drivers. A few were able to keep those tires. A couple names that we had seen qualify towards the back. Mitrovic, he was keeping his tires alive pretty good. Pillar started back in 15th, made his way up to 4th for a finish. It looked like his strategy was, keep those tires. He's running a little bit higher line, same as what Mitrovic is doing. So it was just, at first it wouldn't pay off, but later in that stint, it just seemed like the tires just came to life and they were breezing by people. So definitely a hotter track, a looser track, like you were saying, and just a hard track to drive today. It seemed a lot of people were losing that rear end coming out of the end of 2 and 4, and it was just rough to keep that car going in the right direction for a lot of people. So you weren't the only one out there having a hard time. But before we let you go, always got to let you do a shout out to anybody that is watching. Who do you want to give a shout out to today?
I'm going to give a shout out to Martin, because on that final stint, me and him were running real close together, and we were even side by side for a couple of laps, and then coming out of those corners, I just heated up the tires too much. But yeah, definitely a shout out to him, because that was pretty good saving.
Awesome. Well, we'll let you go so you can go and celebrate the second place today at Dover, and we hope to see you again next week on the podium again so we can give you another interview. But until then, we hope you have a good night.
Thanks.
All right, that was Noah Miller. We're going to bring in Jason Heaney now into the booth. Jason, do I got you down there in the number 9 machine?
Yeah, I got a copy.
Awesome, Jason. Well, a podium finish here at Dover. Great job getting up there and into some good points for you and the team. What was your strategy coming into the race today?
Well, the biggest thing I had here was just how slick it was. So just trying to manage tires, not trying to overdrive corner exit and getting super loose, which the track did get pretty loose there during the race. From practice and qualifying, it definitely got a little slippery, and just try to stay out of trouble, which found a little bit early in the race, and just had to work my way out of it, and it went pretty well. I'm satisfied with that finish. That was a hard-earned third, I feel like.
Yeah, it was. We saw a lot of people starting to lose the ends coming out of 2 and 4. Quite a few incidents because of that. Single car incidents where they just, lose the end and then they go and slide down to the inside of the track and get themselves going again. But it seemed to be getting hotter and hotter. That sun beating down on the track, and the track started in qualifying. At the end of qualifying at about 100 degrees, and at the end we were still at about 102, so it didn't heat up too much. But we definitely had a hot track, and like you said, it was just very loose for a lot of drivers. Noah commented on that as well. But yeah, it was difficult to drive. I know I'm not an oval guy, but the hotter the track, normally the harder it is, to even keep it in control. So congrats on getting to the end. Even we saw some of our bigger drivers, Blowers, Mitrovic is doing great, but he got into an incident, just not able to hold it nearly as tight as they wanted to side by side with other cars. So great job getting your P3. One thing I do want to talk about is Roberg and his strategy. He finished a lap ahead of everybody. Roberg was clutching through his corners for at least, I want to say, probably half of his last stint. Would you have ever thought to do something like that in a race like this?
When we came out of that stage caution, I thought about it myself. I didn't feel like it was in the right position for myself to do it. You needed to kind of get out where you was a little bit in the open to even try it. And I was kind of in the pack, and I just didn't feel like it was, I don't know. It crossed my mind, but then I was like, man, that's a lot of clutching. That's a lot of work, and congrats to him for doing it, because this track, I don't know if I would have been able to do it like he did. So congrats to him on making that work and saving enough fuel to finish and do a burnout. So it crossed my mind, but I would think I was like 7 laps short, I believe it was, on fuel when we came to go to green. And I just didn't think that was, if it would have been like 4, maybe 3 laps, maybe. But I felt like I needed to run half a stint, pit, and just try to make it up on the backside with fresher tires. And strategy paid off for him. That was well done. That was well earned.
Yep. Yeah, we gave him big congratulations. But right now it's time for your congratulations on P3. Great job. Any shout outs you want to give before we let you go and celebrate with the team?
I want to give a shout out to the family, Sarah, Alex, Zoe, Christopher, watching the race at home. And then shout out to my teammates, First Gear Racing. We came and tried to put on a good event with you guys. It's a blast. We didn't have the finishes we expected as a team, but we gave it our all. And I want to thank Octane Outlaws, and I want to thank you for broadcasting this and putting it on. Appreciate you guys.
Of course. Well, I'll pass that along to the admins. They'll see it in this broadcast as well. So thank you for having putting on such a good show tonight, Jason. We hope to see you on the podium again so we can give you a nice little interview and you can do your shout outs again. Until then, have a good night. Go celebrate with the family, and we hope to see you again.
All right. See you, Alex.
All right, so that is going to be it for the Octane Outlaws today. We are having a little bit of trouble still with SDK. I'm not sure what is going on with it. For next race, we're going to do a complete reinstall and reboot of our SDK software. So I'll read off our race. See if we might be able to get. There we go. So our race winner, Martin Roberg, Noah Miller in second, Jason Heaney in third, Greg Pillar in fourth, Bobby Blowers in fifth, Con Campbell in sixth, Zachary Steele in seventh, Patrick Mitrovic in eighth, Tommy Thompson in ninth, Joe Barry in 10th, Trevor Binns in 11th, Corey Buchanan in 12th, David Guimont in 13th, Richard Kreuzer in 14th, Daniel Butler in 15th, Curtis Rogers in 16th, Casey Ellis in 17th, George Buck in 18th, and Raymond Mull Sr. in 19th, who did not finish the race. I think he was the only one that didn't get near the end. George Buck was at least running towards the end. But we will see you guys next week. And hopefully we have all of our issues resolved. Like I said, fresh install of SDK should do it. But until then, we hope you enjoy the broadcast. We hope you enjoy the Octane Outlaws. If you want to join, just hit up Patrick Mitrovic or Corey Buchanan in the Octane Outlaws Discord, which we will have linked. Thank you guys. You have a good night and tune in next week.